Go go Wolfie Rangers! Hey Wolfpack, we're back with another surprise tier list. Yep, after a few requests from our Power Ranger fans, which I did not know we had a lot of, we're doing another tier list ranking another colored ranger, and at the request of a few friends, we're doing the Black Ranger this time. So, yeah, we're finally going into the other colors and seeing all the various characters here, and surprisingly not too many, so fingers crossed this will be a short tier list, but we'll see if we break that 6-hour time limit this time. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about the Black Rangers this time, so if this is your first ever tier list, we'll go over it now. I will be ranking every Black Ranger character, at least all the high profile Black Rangers we have here, and the Jungle Fury Black Rangers, on this tier list. We're going to be ranking all these characters from best to worst. Ever heard of the Power Rangers curse? Yeah, I think that was like where like the 5th season is the worst one, and yeah, it was kind of like a pattern. There was always a bad 5th season, and it was usually the worst Ranger show. We had Turbo, we had Wild Force, we had, unfortunately, Samurai, we had Jungle... No, it was like Mystic Force, I think. Yeah, I heard of that. But gonna be talking about all our Black brothers, so let me go over the tier list first. Up top, we have S tier. These are perfect 10 out of 10s, the Platinum Skull territory, the greatest representing Black brothers ever from Ranger history. Yeah, you get the idea. We will be seeing quite a few up here on S tier because the Black Ranger is usually the cool one. Then down here, we have A. These ones are awesome. Good, not great. They did their job. They were pretty ill. They were pretty mad skilled. We really liked them. They are definitely golden Black Rangers still, but far from perfect. Then we have B tier. These ones, okay. They were fine. They were mediocre. Had a lot of good moments, but some bad moments. They were definitely worthy to wear the black armor, but I wouldn't say they were iconic Rangers in this franchise. Then here we have C. These ones, weak. The lame ducks. The duds. The ones you kind of forgot about. The ones who could have been something special, but didn't quite make it there. They are definitely the forgettable bland blacks. Then we have the question mark. These ones are characters I don't know. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry, but I have not watched every Power Ranger show ever. There are some I have never seen. The Nickelodeon shows I've never watched before in my 9 lives, and all the Black Rangers we don't know will be on here, and unfortunately it's a lot of the later season ones. But yeah, you get the idea, just ones I don't know of. Then at rock bottom, we have Ori No. Yep, that's right, I went there. These ones are bad, F tier, god-awful, 0 out of 10s, the worst Black brothers who fail at representing. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of jokes like that, so might as well embrace it. But yeah, awful Black Rangers, and tragically, we might see a few faces down here. Hi, Jake. But yeah, got every Black Ranger down here, and surprisingly not a lot. Black was not as big a color as red. The Black Ranger often got replaced by the Green or Blue Ranger, and once in a while a White Ranger or Purple Ranger or Violet Ranger. They definitely experimented with colors. Hey, Cat, been waiting for this one. I know you have, Ira. Hey, what's up, Cat? Hey, Light Jones, glad you made it. Talking about all the Black Rangers, and kind of surprised there weren't a lot. They even counted the original Zack from the unused pilot in here, because there weren't that many Black Rangers. So hopefully this is a short tier list. So Let's talk about the Black Ranger. The Black Ranger is often not a necessary color, but usually one in the Power Rangers because there's often been a Black Ranger since the original series. Black is one of the colors that has been replaced, depending on which season you watch, usually by green, sometimes by blue, but yeah, black is a major color in the Power Ranger saga ever since Zack, and we got all the way up to, I believe, the Beast Morpher Steel here, and I did add the Magna Defender, so just an FYI, I did not make this tier list like every other one, I found it. On to Black Rangers today, I see. Hey, Shadowlink, glad you made it. We're still starting right now. So, how many offensive or hilariously awkward sentences do you think we'll make just by mentioning the word black multiple times? Yeah, we got a lot of funny jokes to talk about now, because the Black Ranger, as you know from the 90s, was deemed offensive because they casted the black guy as the Black Ranger. Yeah, exactly, like Trini, who was an Asian chick, as the Yellow Ranger. There's idiots crying that it was somehow offensive, which is complete bullcrap because Zack was awesome. But yeah, guess we should start this tier list, and appropriately, we're starting with Zack from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So we will start with the real Zack and not the pilot Zack. And I don't think there's any doubt in our minds, Zack going on to S tier. Zack is the cool, funky, fresh, hip-hop breakdancer. Yes, really. He's the breakdancer on the Mighty Morphin crew. Zack is very outspoken, very compassionate, very caring. He stands up for what's right. He was the cool kid of the Power Rangers. I would say he's more fit the class clown because he often dropped funny jokes from time to time, but everyone loves Zack. I mean, he's a part of the OG crew, and absolutely none of the OG crew had anything wrong with them up until they started getting replaced. Sorry, just reading up on the comments. Is the Black Ranger always needed to be the black guy at first? Yeah, we wouldn't get a second black guy as the Black Ranger until Will, unfortunately, from Operation Overdrive. You know, I think in the original show, Rangers show, it was gonna be revealed that Ernie from the Juice Bar had known the secret identities of the Power Rangers all along. That wouldn't surprise me, but like a lot of Power Ranger plot threads in the early shows, it went nowhere. Pretty surprising. I know, right? So hilarious how people just got mad that the Black Ranger was black and the Asian character was yellow. Yeah, I think it's just bullcrap. I think they kind of just didn't see it. They didn't pay attention, didn't think it'd be a problem that the black kid was the Black Ranger and the Asian girl was the Yellow Ranger. I think they just didn't really think it through. I do not think it was intentionally racist. And unfortunately, they do use Zack as kind of an example because he was the street kid. I use that term in quotes, so no offense if you can't see me beyond my cat avatar, but Zack was the breakdancer. He was a dance battler, but this actually made him kind of cool because he mixed his dance moves into his fighting style. He was a dance battler, kind of like Felicia or like Johnny Bravo. He used his cool breakdancing moves to basically kick Putty and Monster butt, and it was very fun. Yeah, back then, we were more extreme and totally funky fresh. I believe he was supposed to be kind of like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air character, which made a lot of kids look up to him because Zack was the funny guy of the group. Personally, I don't find making the black guy the Black Ranger is racist. Yeah, me neither, but there's gonna be people showing up. I do kind of find it a lot funnier that they're calling this character racist, and nobody's pointing out that the black kid is the breakdancer of the team. The problem is he's the Black Ranger too. Like, he's black as a secret identity, but you know, he's also basically the street kid, which nobody points out that. Do you know that he actually has 4 fingers on one of his arms? Yeah, he said that. Zack's actor apparently has a missing finger on one of his arms from an accident he suffered in childhood. So I guess that was their way of sneaking in handicap representation. Zack, the master of hip-hop potato. Game over. He was the first one to try to fight the Zula patrollers. Yeah, Zack is pretty cool. Unfortunately, Zack was one of the many characters who got butchered by his movie counterpart, who was ironically nothing like him in all but name. But we'll get to him later. Like, who doesn't like Zack? His actor is also pretty chill, pretty cool with fans. He actually laughed at the racist accusations, which made me respect him a lot more. He called it for what it is, complete bullcrap and people overreacting to a whole bunch of nothing. And so glad he loved being on Mighty Morphin because he eventually came back in the movie Once and Always a Power Ranger. I heard people tell me that. They say it's good. They say they brought most of the 90s cast back. I just haven't watched it. I haven't seen him. I know Zach's actor actually did return and got to evolve as a character. Apparently Zach grew up to be a congressman representing Angel Grove in the future. And someone said he married Trini, but they don't really address that because Trini's actress was the one who died. But yeah, Zach is pretty cool. He's the OG Black Ranger, so of course he gets a lot of praise. Zach was the funny guy of the team. He was a snarker. He was in your face. He stood up for what was right. He wasn't afraid to basically get real and talk to people. He was more, I would say more or less by today, be the class clown of the team, but in the 90s, he was kind of the cool guy. He was the one that was totally edgy and in your face, and all he really did was break dance and snark at a few people. He fought the Zula Patrollers. Yeah, pretty badass. I do like that he actually did have personality and character. He mixed his hip-hop dance moves into his fighting style, and it was kind of to make up for the Sentai footage, because in the Sentai show, the Black Ranger was the comic relief and had a funny fighting style. So in America, they gave him a bit more depth that way. Speaking of which, Zach did have a lot more depth. He was very He was very, in your face, I will say. He was not shy. He was brave. He was badass. He stood up for his friends. He called them out when they did something stupid. He kind of eased the tension between the Rangers, which is something, ironically, his 2017 counterpart would never do. I find it hilarious how it was actually his middle finger that was missing. That's very kid-friendly, right? Yeah. Zach held his own against Nasty Knights until the other Rangers came to his support. That's right, he did. So, I'm still watching Mighty Morphin. Again, 300 episodes to sit through. I know they went on a peace conference that they never came back from. Unfortunately, that is the only negative thing to say about Zach. He, Trini, and the original Red Ranger, Jason, had to be written out of the show because they complained about wanting a pay raise, and the executives are total dicks. They said no, and they got rid of their characters, leading to a very awkward series of episodes where they had stand-ins for Zach, Trini, and Jason. They went to a peace conference in Switzerland, and Zach and Trini never came back from it. Jason did eventually. I heard he's back in Zeo. He's the Gold Ranger, but Zach never came back up until Once and Always, the movie, where they did get the original guy who played him to come back. But of course, Zach's going on to S tier. He is a badass brother. He be representing. Yeah, expect more awkward humor like that. But Zach, he's a classic. We'll put him on S tier because, let's face it, most of the Mighty Morphin cast is probably going to be S tier because they were all just so fun and endearing, and Zach was definitely another great face in Ranger history. Hi, everyone. His relationship with Angela should have gotten more development. Oh, that's right. He had like a crush on a chick, and she was not into him. He kept trying to pursue her, and unfortunately, that ended up going nowhere when they got rid of Zach. He had like a crush on a girl. She was a civilian, and she didn't return his feelings. She spurned him, and Zach, kind of like in a Screech Powers and Lisa type of way, kept trying to get in her skirt, but she said no, and unfortunately, they didn't get together, and apparently he randomly hooked up with Trini off screen. Anyways, yeah, we'll put Zach on the S tier. Speaking of which, we should also do the unused pilot, Zach. Okay, a lot of people told me that they wanted the original actress for Trini from the pilot to be on here, but the problem is I have not seen the pilot, so unused Zach going on to question mark. I have not seen the unaired pilot episode for Power Rangers back when they were called the Galaxy Rangers. Someone tell me how that was, or where to find it, because I cannot locate it. Hey, V Scorpio, glad you made it. Nasty Knight destroyed the first Rangers with Rita during her conquest. Yeah, that's right. So this is the unused Zach, who I've never seen, so we have to put him on question mark. Him never returning after the peace conference in Switzerland always made me cry as a kid. Don't blame you, Light Jones. They threw away 3 of the best Ranger characters to replace them, and unfortunately, we're now getting to Zack's replacement, Adam, and believe it or not, Adam also going on to S tier, and I will be putting him before Zack because he's Johnny Young Bosch. Yep, we get to Adam, the only replacement Ranger fans actually liked. I know we also had Tanya and Aisha, they were fine, and unfortunately we had Rocky, who was easily the worst replacement, and we eventually got Kat, who I do not like because she replaced Kimberly. I heard Kat got better on Zeo, but I have not seen him. But Adam, yeah, of course he's going on to S tier because Adam is one of the greatest Black Rangers of all time himself. That is one of Zed's Dark Rangers. Oh, that is? Okay. Well, now I have to put on question mark. Got my 500 waters here to stay hydrated. Anyways, Adam, you all want to talk about Adam. Adam was the complete polar opposite of Zack in every way. Adam was a lot more shy and introverted, and becoming a Power Ranger helped him come out of his shell. Adam is kind of the socially awkward loner of the group. He and Billy kind of hit it off as total friends because Billy was also the loser of his group until being a Ranger gave him confidence. Rocky wasn't bad. He was a bad replacement for Jason, okay, Ira? Hi, Kat. So, Black Rangers. Hey, Akira. We're still in the Mighty Morphin era, and we get basically Adam, who is the long-term replacement for the fan favorite Zack. Adam is cool. He's a martial artist. Johnny Young Bosch really brought his A game to the role. This was, according to Bosch, his first ever acting gig, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park. Everybody loves Adam, and some people actually prefer him over Zack, and I can only agree because, yeah, it's Johnny Young Bosch. Johnny Young Bosch is a great voice actor I've heard in a lot of things. I see him on anime. He was Bumblebee on War for Cybertron, and appropriately, he was also a pretty badass Power Ranger because he actually knew martial arts, and that showed on this series. Hey, Reboot Ranger. Who do you say was the most serious Black Ranger? The Magna Defender? Yeah, he's on this list. Apparently he counts as a Black Ranger, so the Magna Defender definitely. But if you're talking pure Power Ranger, I might say Dylan. Pretty great how Johnny Young Bosch got a lot of voice acting roles after Power Rangers, like with Nero and Devil May Cry 4 and 5. Yeah, and I heard he's also on Bleach, but I have not watched Bleach. So no Christina V as the female Black Ranger. Apparently we don't have any female Black Rangers, and missed opportunity, Rangers. You should have, like, the goth girl as the Black Ranger in one of the future shows. It's like, the jokes write themselves, it is right there, like, have the sexy goth girl be the Black Ranger. You would think they would have done that in the past 30 to 40 years of Ranger content, but they didn't. Anyways, Adam is cool. Not a deep character in Mighty Morphin, but he got a lot more to do in the later stuff. I remember him coming back on In Space in Back in Black, one of the greatest Rangers episodes ever, and featuring 2 of the fan favorite Black Rangers teaming up. Adam underwent a lot of character development and became a veteran Power Ranger. And oh yeah, everyone's gonna mention, Adam also came back on the Operation Overdrive crossover, which everyone agrees is the only good element of Operation Overdrive. Yeah, he is Ichigo from Bleach. Okay, thank you. You remember he voiced a character from Lucky Star? Bleach. He was also Artemis on the Viz dub of Sailor Moon. Okay, he was. My brother Wolf is the Sailor Moon fan. Me, I had trouble getting into it because Usagi's so stupid. I always found it so strange that the Magna Defender counts as a Black Ranger. Well, I guess that gives us an excuse to praise more Black Rangers on here. In Super Sentai, the first Black Ranger who was a girl was in the year. Okay, I did not know that. I have not watched any of the Sentai. I mostly know of it from either reading about it on like TV tropes or Wikipedia. He is Gayu from Demon Slayer, and he's also Dante on the Netflix Devil May Cry. I know people have a lot to say about that reboot, but Trust me when I say you are not missing much. Totally skip the Netflix Devil May Cry. Johnny Young Bosch is cool, but he is not worth being the emasculated Dante on the Lady Show. So yeah, the 50th anniversary of Super Sentai is the year we got a female Black Ranger. Okay, pretty cool. Yep, Dante from Netflix Devil May Cry. Oh, Johnny Young Bosch, how hard you fell. It says a lot that Johnny Young Bosch was better as a Black Ranger than the anime Dante. That's how bad that show is, people. Anyways, Johnny Young Bosch, he is awesome, and he gets a lot more in Zeo, which unfortunately I never saw. He became the Green Ranger on Turbo, and got anticlimactically replaced by Carlos, who's down here. I did not like Carlos in Turbo because he was honestly kind of a dickhead. Carlos was kind of a spoiled, obnoxious douche jock, and apparently Adam deemed him his worthy replacement, and he awkwardly gave him the powers of Turbo and left the series forever. So Jason David Frank and Kat Hillard wanted to leave the show, but here's the funny thing. Tanya's actress and Johnny Young Bosch did not want to leave Power Rangers, but they were kind of fired with them. They got rid of the entire Mighty Morphin era team altogether in Turbo, and very awkwardly, Johnny Young Bosch just hands the keys to the Black Mantle to someone else, and yeah, it kind of reeks of awkwardness and a forced passing of the torch. I wish it would have been Zach who was the veteran. Yeah, I kind of do too, but Zach never met Carlos. The theory that I always had as a kid on why they reused the Magna Defender's character / costume is because the scheduling and budget of the show didn't allow for the team to make a new Black Ranger costume. Most likely, Light Jones. Also, he was Broly in Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero. Ooh, nice. Okay, so anyways, Adam wouldn't come back until a few special anniversary events later. He returned in Back in Black, one of the best in space episodes. My brother Wolf absolutely loved this episode, not just because Johnny Young Bosch was in it, but because it gave a lot of great character to Carlos, and Adam is very much now a veteran Power Ranger by this point. He gives Carlos a pep talk, trains him, and teaches him a moral lesson on accepting himself and the harshness of being a hero, accepting loss, and not blaming yourself because you can't save everyone. It is a rather fun, deep, and very mature episode for In Space, and kind of redeemed Carlos in everyone's eyes. Carlos is not one of my favorite Black Rangers, but he is a lot more sympathetic and understandable in this episode, and seeing Johnny Young Bosch morph back into the Black Ranger after all this time was very exciting, and he really kicks ass. So he helps Carlos basically get his groove back and evolve into a true badass Black Ranger. And that is the end of Adam. I kind of wish he got to appear in the finale of the In Space era, since it made sense, but no, he didn't. He had to give up the power coins because reusing them was too dangerous. Don't worry, Jason would only reuse that power coin multiple times later in other crossovers. Then, Johnny Young Bosch actually did come back for, I believe, so far, one of the last times in the main show's continuity, at least, in the Operation Overdrive Once a Ranger. Once a Ranger, I heard, is very good. I have not rewatched Overdrive in years because I do not want to go back to it. Operation Overdrive sucks, but Once a Ranger brought back multiple veteran Rangers, many of them from the Disney era shows, but Johnny Young Bosch's Adam came back and was kind of the leader of this special event, and everybody absolutely loved it because Johnny Young Bosch is awesome, and he can still be a badass Power Ranger in it. The producers of Turbo just wanted to restart with a mostly new team. Yeah, I understand that, but kind of awkward since you're like 1/3 into the show to finally replace them. It's just kind of jarring, especially when Turbo started out with a movie which had all the Mighty Morphin cast, including Rocky before he was laid off for a 12-year-old. Hi, Axel. Glad you made it. Roger Valesco played Carlos. Yeah, we should get to him soon, but we'll wrap up Adam. He did show up on Operation Overdrive, and I heard Johnny Young Bosch did come back for Once and Always, which is kind of weird because then we have 2 Black Rangers in it, but Johnny Young Bosch is a famous celebrity now, so of course him being there really hyped up the project. But Adam is S tier, he is awesome, and he was easily the best of the replacement Rangers, and would have a lot of fun episodes. And one including Carlos, who we'll get to right now. We'll talk about Carlos, his replacement from In Space, who might hurt people, but I'm going to put him onto A, and that's because I did not like Carlos on Turbo. Speaking of once a Ranger, I'm going to tell how Bridge became the Red Ranger. That's right, Bridge was one of them. They brought Bridge, one of the Mystic Force Rangers. I know Kira from Dino Thunder was in it, and Tori from Ninja Storm was in it, and that made a lot of people watch, because Tori and Kira were the hot chicks, so yeah, I'm glad to see them coming back. And they brought Bridge, some Mystic Force Ranger, and I know Johnny Young Bosch came back, and he was the one everyone was most hyped to see because, you know, he's an OG Ranger. He and Tracy Lynn Cruz dated at some point during their run of the show. Oh, are you talking about Johnny Young Bosch or Carlos? I suspect Carlos, most likely. But Carlos I'm putting onto A, and unfortunately he lost points because of Turbo. Carlos, very unlikable in Turbo. He's pretty much a spoiled brat, hated being a Ranger. He matures, but is also kind of immature, and it really says a lot that the 12-year-old Justin was more of a man than he was. Carlos would be redeemed through In Space, and In Space, it basically was the redemption arc for a lot of the Turbo Rangers. The Turbo cast was not well liked because, one, they were replacing veteran Rangers we all knew and loved, and two, they were not very deep or well-defined characters. TJ was bland, Cassie was a bitch, Ashley was boring, and Carlos was kind of a dick. In Space, they grew up fast. They became better characters. Carlos didn't have too much character focus, but he did have a lot of the funnier episodes, and I think Back in Black, easily one of the best episodes of the series, because Carlos finally shapes up into a true badass Power Ranger. Yeah, the actress of Ashley Hammond. I know who she is. I know Tracy Cruz is. Well, the crossover in Overdrive was only good with the past Rangers. The Overdrive Rangers were still bad, and I absolutely hated Thrax, aka Rita and Zed's son. Ah, that's right, he was the villain in that. Yeah, everybody just keeps remembering how good it was seeing the past Rangers, so you kind of blank out that Rita and Zed's god-awful designed son was in there. So basically what happens is that Doggy Kruger got promoted to head of SPD, and which used to be run by Birdie, who retired, and then they got Sky promoted, and he got promoted. Okay, so Bridge just climbed up the ladder. The most memorable episode with Carlos was Carlos on Call. Yeah, he got blackmailed by the little girl, Sylvie, and basically became her manservant. I was kind of hoping that episode would focus on Carlos and the Black Psycho Ranger fighting, but no, it was a dumb fun comedy in the middle of one of their darker story arcs. Linkara did a great rant on why the Overdrive team were the absolute worst of giving up because they don't have their powers anymore, even though past teams didn't care whether they had powers or not. Yeah, that was one of the worst parts of the series. Well, one of the worst parts of a god-awful series. The Overdrive Rangers gave up once they had no powers, which is a complete spit in the face to shows like, oh, I don't know, Wild Force, where the Rangers, without their powers and without their Megazords, still stood up to Master Org in his Ultra Final form, knowing that they could die. That was a heroic final stand, and the Overdrive Rangers are like, no, we give up, life's too hard. Yeah, that is why Overdrive is hated, Wolfpack. Carlos definitely improved in Space. Yes, he did. Carlos is a much better character. He essentially grows up. He starts taking this seriously. He's the one who holds the Star Lance gun. The gun they all build together. Carlos basically shapes up, kind of becomes Andros's right-hand man a lot more than TJ ever is, and became much cooler. Carlos on Call was one of his better episodes because Carlos actually learns some humility and feels empathy for Sylvie after he was such a jerk towards her. He finally snapped at her, but finds out her brother is dead and realizes that she just wanted a friend. He makes amends with her and takes her flying into space without oxygen. Yeah, in the early days of Power Rangers, you could breathe in space without oxygen helmets. I'm so glad Lost Galaxy fixed that plot hole. Do you consider Mike Doggy Kruger's Black Rangers? Well, this tier list does, so don't worry, they're down here. Also, Sky became the Deca Master Ranger. Okay, he did. I haven't rewatched Overdrive in forever because it was bad. Like so, if Black Ranger Christina V on Hyperforce, what is her place in the tier list? Okay, I've never read Hyperforce, so she might go in the question marks along with the Shadow Ranger Zack. Funny enough, the 5 returning Ranger color themes are basically the same as the team in the Sentai 50th anniversary seasons. Coincidence? I think not. Also, according to the Power Rangers comic, the current blue SPD Ranger is a girl named Lena, and the current SPD Ranger is Tommy's son. Yes, Tommy had a kid with Cat. With Cat? No, Tommy and Kimberly are the one true pairing. Also, I heard in the short that Bryce Papenbrook, the son of Bob Papenbrook, the voice of Rita Revolto. Really can't wait till you get to the Black Overdrive Ranger. Ah, yes, Will Aston. It only worked for the people who rooted for the villains and loved it when the Overdrive Rangers fully lost. Yeah, because nobody likes them. Also, Bryce Papenbrook needs to be Rito Revolta in the Disney Plus Power Rangers. He might, now that Disney owns it again. Like, I rank it in S tier if is cool. Okay, I respect that. I just never read Hyperforce. Anyways, Carlos pretty badass. He doesn't get as deep a character arc because mostly Andros and Ashley kind of take over as the main Rangers in the season finale. But Carlos is in there in space fighting the army of Quantrons and Piranhatrons, where he gets his big standoff moment with the other Rangers. It is pretty awesome. After the Turbo Rangers ran away into space, they reveal themselves to the public after Bulk and Skull's Spartacus speech and give their final fight, fighting the forces invading the Earth. And Andros is the one who saves the day, and the Space Rangers lose their powers, only to somehow get it again into the 10th power. Yeah, apparently they still had the Space Morphers still, and with Zordon gone, they were like kind of put in a charging room, and Carlos would come back into the 10th power, which I believe was his last appearance in the Rangers chronological order, and to the 10th power is pretty badass. Love seeing Carlos fight the Black Psycho Ranger alongside Damon. Kind of weird because Damon is the Green Ranger and Psycho Black has to fight him, since there is no Black Ranger in the Galactic team. I mean, unless you want to count the Magna Defender, but apparently Psycho Black didn't. So yeah, Carlos and Damon double team the Psycho Black, and for what's unfortunately Carlos's last battle is pretty awesome. The Space Rangers and Galaxy Rangers double teaming the Psycho Rangers is one of the greatest moments in Ranger history, so Carlos at least got to go out on a final note. Then he's just standing in the background when Kendricks dies, and that's about it. But Carlos will put on to A. I liked him, but I don't really love him, and a part of that is because of Turbo. He was not very good in Turbo, so that held him back, and Carlos is a Ranger who's never been one of my top 10 favorites, so we'll put him on A. He still did the Black Mantle justice. Speaking of which, we should also get rid of the Black Alien Ranger. I'm putting him on C. So the Alien Rangers kind of took over after the Mighty Morphin team were turned into children in a very bizarre spin-off, now retconned into a Mighty Morphin story arc, where the Alien Rangers are contacted to be substitute Rangers, and the Black Alien Ranger basically is a background character. He did the least out of all of them, so we'll put him on C because he was just plain forgettable. Not bad enough to be on Ori, no, but still pretty bland in the grand scheme of things. Like Rita Revolta, sounds like Yosemite Sam. Black Aquitar Ranger Corcus. Yeah, that was his name. Yeah, he's a background character. He doesn't really matter. Yeah, sorry, but the Alien Rangers did not leave that big an impression on me, mostly because they're substitute Rangers. Their existence tells you that there are multiple sections of Power Rangers out there across the galaxy. Like, these are Rangers from a distant, unknown space, and they came in to substitute for the Mighty Morphin team when they were cursed into children. That's really it, so he's gone on to C. But we'll talk about a Ranger that actually was good in Turbo, the Phantom Ranger. Yep, this is the Phantom Ranger, and we'll put him on A. I will put him above Carlos because he pulled a miracle being the only likable character in Turbo. Okay, so Turbo sucks. Turbo is one of the worst Power Rangers seasons of all time. I know there are many who hate Megaforce, Operation Overdrive, Samurai, and Ninja Steel more, but Turbo has not been redeemed in my eyes, but the one saving grace is their sixth Ranger, the Phantom Ranger. They did have cool suits. He's one of several Power Ranger stars to appear on the New Zealand soap opera Shortland Street. Oh, and he was on Xena. Okay, should have opened with that. I know Xena more. Well, Ninja Sentai Karka Rangers is different, which Black Rangers, who is American. Okay. So, the Phantom Ranger. This is the Mystery Ranger, who is a on-again, off-again ally to the Turbo Rangers. He helps them fight Divatox and her stupid pirates, and acts mysterious. He's kind of a unknown Batman type of Power Ranger. He works alone, and a lot of people liked him more because he had so much going for him. However, he doesn't make it onto S tier because we never, and I mean never, find out who the hell he is or what his backstory is. They tease the Phantom Ranger some big important guy and never follow up on him because the staff kind of brushed Turbo under the rug. Turbo did so bad that they never brought back the old plot points, so the Phantom Ranger doesn't make it onto S tier, but he did a good at trying to make Turbo watchable. I liked how he and Cassie had kind of this romance. He's cool, he kicks butt, he does not take Divatox's crap, and basically is the saving grace of Turbo. Really wish they gave him more backstory and info with the Phantom Ranger. Yeah, they really should have. That is the worst thing I have to say about the Phantom Ranger. We never find out who he is. Some people like that about him more, but yeah, I kind of agree. It did make him a bit forgettable. He showed up again in space. He's trying to rescue Zordon himself, and he's still out there kicking butt. We see him fight Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed, and the Machine Empire. He helps them track down Zordon, but ultimately they fail and lose Zordon again, and it's implied he's still helping them from the sidelines, and he and Cassie, I believe, were supposed to hook up, but we never got a full conclusion to that plot thread. Ninja Black Jiraiya. So, the Red X of Turbo. Yeah, that perfectly sums him up, Akira. There was supposed to be more development with the Phantom Ranger, but scheduling conflicts kept that from happening. Okay, so, yeah, that is kind of a disappointment. I will put him higher than Carlos because, again, he pulled a miracle, actually had good moments in Turbo, and that really says a lot about how good this character was. The only problem is we don't learn anything about him. I would put him lower for that, but considering how much suffering Turbo is, putting him on an A feels like high praise that he deserves. Okay, so technically, we get to our next Black Ranger, Mike, the new Magna Defender from Lost Galaxy. Yep, apparently the Magna Defender counts as a Black Ranger, which I find kind of questionable, but hey, we could use some positive after all of Turbo. So, Mike we're going to put onto S tier. And yeah, I will put him above Zack because Mike had a lot more character development. So, this is Mike Corbett, Leo's older brother. Mike originally died. He was chosen to be the Red Ranger. He died, fell in battle, fell off that CGI cliffside, and we're led to believe he was gone and lost forever. However, it turns out the Magna Defender actually saved Mike. He was buried alive under that abyss, basically, and he absorbed Mike's body to come alive again. Mike is within the real Magna Defender down here, up until he performs his heroic sacrifice and passes the mantle of Magna Defender onto Mike, and Mike becomes the 6th Ranger to the Galactic Rangers. Another good thing about Turbo was General Havoc. Fully agree, Ira. General Havoc should have been the real villain of Turbo, but they chose to have Divatox because for some reason the producers loved Hilary Shepard. Ali Ashfar played him. Okay, I didn't know. Sorry to be too late. Anyway, I'm glad that Zack is on S rank. I don't know about the controversy about him being the Black Ranger. Those who said it should get punched and kicked in the face. I agree, Anime Knights. Also, it is sad that Zack's actor had a missing ring finger, but they made it so we wouldn't notice it. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people say that, but it was kind of noticeable in shots. He is played by Russell Lawrence. Okay, so we're on Mike Corbett, technically the second Magna Defender, but pretty much the one who gets the real slot of a Ranger. He takes the Magna Defender's mantle for him. It's passed on to him, and Mike is kind of there on the sides, being cool, being a support for the core 5 Rangers. Technically, the Galactic Rangers get a lot more character than him, but Mike is the ace. He's the pro soldier. He's the best at everything. Leo's a bit insecure because Mike's always been the better brother, the one who always succeeds, the cool guy, the military boss, and being the Magna Defender actually made him more badass because he's there helping. He gets a few episodes, one being he's nearly seduced and killed by Trakina when she's posing as Tracy. Stolen Beauty is one of the greatest episodes in Power Rangers history, so that definitely got him a lot more attention too. And I believe his other greatest episodes are the one where they go aboard the ship, the rescue mission with the mysterious xenomorph predator monster. That one was pretty intense and showed you that Mike still had his groove as a badass soldier. He's like leading an aliens marine team infiltrating the ship. They survive the monster. Mike is able to kick it in the face and jump until the explosion. And I believe his last major episode is easily the one where he saves all the slaves from Captain Mutiny. And that pretty much showed you that Mike is a competent hero. He can do things on his own. Mike rescues all of Captain Mutiny's prisoners and basically helps lead the defeat of the worst filler villain ever, Captain Mutiny. He frees all the slaves, helps Terra Venture escape his grip, and tragically loses his powers doing so. His morpher is destroyed in a fight, and Toro Zord heroically sacrifices himself to save his friend Mike and help Terra Venture escape the Lost Galaxy, which is why he's on S tier, because that is a badass feat. The Sixth Ranger literally gave up his power saving his entire people. Also, I think the hot villainesses are attractive. Yeah, they are. Trakina is definitely one of the hottest babes ever, but Vipra, for me, is my bad girl crush. Anyways, Mike, going on to S tier because he's such a badass Black Ranger, he literally gave up his power to save everyone from the Lost Galaxy. So that is definitely a high achievement in my book. Plus, the Magna Defender is pretty badass. So yeah, he'll be on S tier. Tragically, Mike never came back because, well, he was depowered and the Magna Defender armor was pretty much lost forever. You kind of think he would have showed up in Megaforce, considering all the bad continuity they had there, but no, he didn't. But we'll put him on S anyway. So after Mike, we wouldn't get a Black Ranger again until Wild Force. That's right, we got Danny, and I actually kind of like Danny. Danny I will put onto A. Yep, we got Danny Delgado, Black Wild Force Ranger. He is the Iron Bison. Never give up. I just stopped by to say you are amazing. Thanks, just some random guy. Glad to see you. Cool. AV Scorpio. So, I do actually like Danny. The Wild Force Rangers, I'm a bit mixed on, and Cole's controversy aside, mostly my problems stem from the characters. The Wild Force Rangers were not very interesting, and it absolutely hurt because they were coming after the Time Force Rangers, who were all very likable and badass and unique. The Wild Force Rangers, a lot more of a mixed bag, but the two I did like the most were easily Alyssa and Danny. Danny is the gentle giant. He's the quiet guy, the shy one, but also super buff and muscular, and he is the big guy of the Rangers team. He's nice, he likes watering plants, he's sensitive, talks about feelings, but also isn't afraid to get tough. Kind of a male Bubbles, if you will. He's nice, he's friendly, but a total example of beware the nice ones, because when he's the Iron Bison, he's a wrecking machine. I thought the Ox Ranger definitely had the coolest armor of the main five. That is until Merrick the Wolf Ranger showed up, but Danny was my favorite of the core five because he's just so likable and dorky, kind of like a new generation's Billy, if you will. I like Danny because he was the first Spanish Black Ranger. Also, I thought his Zord was a bull. Yeah, that kind of mixed people up. He does look more like a bull or an ox, but apparently he's a bison. That's his catchphrase, the Iron Bison. Danny had a few episodes. Mostly they were one-shot spotlight episodes, which a lot of the Wild Force Rangers had. Only Cole and Merrick really had the story arcs, but I remember Danny had an episode where he had an ex-fiancée, the girl of his dreams who worked at a flower shop. He was too shy to make his move, and now she's marrying some rich douchebag. I believe this guy's like parroting Billy Zane from Titanic, but yeah, his ex-girlfriend is marrying some rich douchebag, and Danny's always been too afraid to make his move, and he worries that she won't want to date him and that his life as a Power Ranger will interfere with their romantic life, and he can't get the girl, but Danny realizes he can't let her go, that he does love her. She realizes that she does love him and doesn't love the toxic douchebag who clearly doesn't have her best interests at heart and is only marrying her because of how hot she is. The girl breaks up with Rich Dickhead and chooses Danny, and unfortunately, this is the one reason why he's dropped from S tier. They do not give a proper conclusion to Danny and this girl's romance. He does realize he can be with her. He does realize he can't let her go. He wants to marry her, and then they never get married. Danny never hooks up with this girl, and apparently there was also a deleted scene, or a deleted subplot, if you will, where Danny did eventually go back to her. They do become a happily married and live happily ever after, basically. Danny and this girl were supposed to achieve their happy ending, basically, in the end, and this was, for some reason, thrown away, and Danny and Max just became bros going on a road trip in the finale, spreading their never give up philosophy, which, honestly, not a bad idea, but didn't feel as conclusive or give Danny the happiness he deserved like marrying this girl would have. His actor is Colombian American. Okay, wouldn't it be funny that instead of a flower shop, he worked in a china shop because of the phrase bull in a china shop? Yeah, that would have been funny. You would think they would have done a joke like that, but they didn't. So, Ivan from Miraculous, who is the Oz in Miraculous. Yeah, kind of like that, Akira. The family name Delgado is of Hispanic origin, meaning thin or delicate. Oh, get it? It's ironic because he's like the most big, buff guy on the team. There's actually a fan theory that Danny did hook up with the girl eventually, and that Z is his distant daughter. Like, Z is his daughter or his granddaughter, an ancestor in the future. Why? Because Z has the last name Delgado. Danny's last name is also Delgado, and the fans theorize that Danny may have created Z, the yellow SPD Ranger, in the future. I actually kind of like that fan theory because of how fun it is and how humorous that Danny's distant ancestor would become a Power Ranger just like her relative was. Jason was the Gold Ranger in Zeo, not Black Axel. Yeah, Jason's not on here. Yeah, kind of weird because the Gold Ranger outfit does have a lot of black on it. It has like a gold mask and gold streaks. But yeah, that does not count as a Black Ranger. I heard some rich guys don't care if the girls like them for their money as long as they're hot. Yeah, that was kind of the reason why the dickhead was trying to marry Danny's woman. Yeah, Danny does get a moment where he gets to be a man and he kills the evil Bridezilla monster in that episode. It is a really goofy episode, but a fun kind of goofy, which is very good in the case of Power Rangers because those episodes are always fun. Then, Danny, I don't recall, ever had too many spotlight episodes. Outside of being bros with Max, they always chant, "Never give up, never give up." And they even spread their never give up philosophy around the globe in the finale. Danny is, of course, standing with all of them against Ultra Org in that grand final stand. And, you know, I do like this guy. I would put him on A. I just wish he got proper conclusion to his romance arc, because it would have felt more fulfilling, but because the writers think children hate romance on Power Rangers, they canceled it. I mean, would it really matter? I mean, they hook up in the finale. Like, is anyone gonna complain that there's romance in the last episode of the series? Danny should not be that high. Oh, you don't like him? I really liked him. Danny was one of the more charming characters of Wild Force. I found him a lot more likable. Taylor I just didn't care for, and Max I found not very charming. He was the tag-along kid, except he looks like he's the same age as everyone else, and Cole's character arc kind of hit a snag once the Dr. Adler's Master Org twist happened, and Alyssa just plain didn't do much. So is Wild Force and SPD canon? Well, Akira, apparently every Power Rangers show ever is supposed to be canon, and tied all together, it does take place in the same universe. We do see the Wild Force Rangers, including Danny, is there on Megaforce. Spoilers, Danny's actor did not come back. He's just one of the stuntmen wearing his old suit. Yeah, that's a lot of the Ranger cameos in Megaforce. A lot of the Rangers who don't take off their helmets, clearly stand-ins. They're just stand-ins, and I guess we'll count that Danny was there in the big Grand Ranger battle of the Megaforce anniversary special, but his actor clearly didn't come back. So is Wild Force and SPD canon? Yeah, I would say they are. In Sentai, they consider the Gold Zeo Ranger as black. Well, unfortunately, this tier list didn't. Just a thought, why not a future tier list? How about the comic relief allies of the Rangers? I know there's not much, but they are well known as Bulk and Skull or Spike or even Fran. Oh, don't forget Lieutenant Stone, the cop who ran the juice bar. Like, Danny is cool, like better than Ivan since it makes sense, but was mentioned in Dino Fury. Okay, so anyways, I do like Danny. I found him very charming. He was one of the more lovable goofball Rangers, but actually pretty endearing. I remember him more on Wild Force than anything Taylor or Max ever did, so we'll stick him on to A. Fine, but not one of the 10 out of 10 Rangers. But after Danny, we wouldn't get a Black Ranger again until you all waited for him, Tommy. Yep, Tommy Oliver returns in Dino Thunder. Sorry, just drinking my water. Yeah, Tommy Oliver, you can guess, going on to S tier. We'll put him, I might put him behind Adam, just because Johnny Young Bosch is also awesome. But, yep, Tommy Oliver came back as the Black Dino Thunder Ranger. Aren't you a little old for this, Tommy? I may be old, but I can still pull it off. Yep, Tommy became the Black Dino Thunder Ranger. Interestingly, he kind of counted as their 6th Ranger because Dino Thunder had a much smaller team. We had Ethan, Kira, Connor, and eventually Tommy came back as the Black Brontosaur Ranger, and he could still pull it off, fighting Mesogog, Elsa, and all the evil minions, and yeah, of course, Tommy's gone on to S tier. This is one of the greatest Ranger characters of all time. Yeah, you remember Shadow Link? Aren't you a little old for this, Tommy? I may be old, but I can still pull it off. Girly scream. Yep, Tommy's back. So in Megaforce Sentai counterpart Gokai Ranger, they managed to get at least one Ranger from the past 34 teams. Wow, only one, huh? So why not that tier list? Of comic reliefs, we'll see. I know people want to talk about the Rangers more, which is why I'm doing those. Okay, he was mentioned on Dino Fury. Why Lightspeed Rescue and Time Force never had a Black Ranger? I guess they wanted a bit more color, and they experimented with the Titanium Ranger and the Quantum Ranger. I guess they counted having an African American as a Black Ranger. Like he's Dr. Tommy Oliver. Yeah, so apparently Tommy quit his career of being a race car driver on Zeo and got a job as a professor of paleontology at a random high school in the middle of nowhere. Very interesting career choices, but yeah. Tommy basically starts out the show. Tommy is the mentor figure of Dino Thunder. He's a former veteran ranger trying to live a quiet, peaceful life and basically retired from his duties as a Power Ranger until Anton Mercer slash Mesogog found him and is continuing his villain scheme in present day, where Tommy recruits a whole new group to become Rangers battling the forces of evil, his former best friend Anton Mercer, who's secretly the evil monster man Mesogog. Mesogog wants to destroy the world and return it to the days of the dinosaur, transforming everyone into dinosaurs so dinos can rule the earth once more. Yep, the man of the hour is here. Like he's Dr. Tommy. So Tommy last unmorphed appearance before his actor died was in Ninja Steel. Yep, R.I.P. Jason David Frank. Well, he returns as the Black Ranger on Ninja Steel. Okay, he did. I have not watched Ninja Steel, so I wouldn't know. R.I.P. Tommy, yep. Fun fact, his actor's last role was a Power Rangers parody on We Bare Bears. Oh, it was? Okay, I remember he appeared on the stupid reboot movie. Like, Tommy's actor, Jason David Frank, and Amy Jo Johnson are this random couple who appear in the background like twice, and only hardcore Ranger fans will recognize them. I recognize Jason David Frank because he was rocking his ponytail look, but I actually didn't know it was Amy Jo Johnson until reading the credits. Well, sometimes they got two actors. Remember when Tommy trapped in his Ranger suit for a few episodes until he was in that episode where he encountered his past Rangers? Yeah, Tommy goes back into his past and they bring back the ghost of his past self, the Green Ranger, White Tiger Ranger, and the Red Zeo Ranger. How did he not die of starvation? Yeah, kind of weird. I guess he injected the food into him. His Japanese counterpart is Asuka, the Abare Black or Armor of Darkness. Okay. Bakuryu Sentai Aba Ranger. Okay. So, Tommy came back in Dino Thunder. He's the mentor figure for the new, younger Rangers. And we find out through his past that Tommy used to be a badass Ranger back in the day. And honestly, Dino Thunder was my introduction to Tommy Oliver. I did not grow up with Mighty Morphin era, so it blew my mind on that clip show episode, which did a full series recap. And Tommy was there since the beginning. Tommy was the evil Green Ranger, then became a good Green Ranger, then got promoted to the White Tiger Ranger, then became the Red Ranger for the Zeo team, and then he became the Red Turbo Ranger before his actor finally had enough and quit because Turbo was awful. Then he finally came back in Forever Red as the Red Zeo Ranger again. Then I guess he lost his Zeo Crystal at some point and became the Black Dino Ranger. And Tommy is cool. Tommy's kick-ass. Tommy is now a full-grown veteran Ranger at this point, and basically kind of the old soldier who still got it. He's still kicking butt. He's there helping his friends. He's teaching Connor, Kira, and Ethan how to fight and how to be a proper Ranger. Kind of the cool, badass teacher you see in animes. So, Tommy actually does have a backstory. He was friends with Anton Mercer, but Anton Mercer was clearly evil and using their inventions and discoveries for his selfish desires. And eventually this would lead to Anton Mercer mutating into Mesogog and becoming Tommy's new archenemy. And Tommy is basically rectifying his mistakes by taking on Mesogog's forces. And apparently at some point he created the Tyrannodrones, which Mesogog uses as his cannon fodder minions. So, yeah, Tommy's still making poor choices, just like trusting TJ as the new Red Ranger. Why can't you just rule the world like all the other psychos? Yeah, classic line. Because there was no Pink Ranger and Aba Ranger. Oh yeah, in Dino Thunder, there was an episode where they watched the dub of Aba Ranger. That was a pretty weird episode. So Ninja Steel, Tommy made a morpher that made him morph into all his past Ranger forms. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. So wouldn't Cat be the pink Dino Thunder Ranger, but it didn't happen? Okay, so I was gonna save this for the Dino Thunder tier list, but funny story. The lady Haley, I believe is her name, Haley, the juice bar lady who apparently has a past with Tommy, she was supposed to be Kat. They were supposed to have Tommy and Kat pick up their romance again in Dino Thunder and have them officially hook up. Tommy and Kat would have finally had their romance come full circle. Yeah, Kat was supposed to be the cool old lady running the juice bar, and Tommy and Kat would have reignited their old flame. They would hook up again. This adventure would bring them closer together, and Tommy was going to finally marry Kat because apparently in Zeo there's an episode where it jumps ahead to an elderly Tommy Oliver who's now a grandpa with a ton of children, and people question, who did Tommy hook up with? And yeah, Tommy and Kat were supposed to reunite in Dino Thunder. Unfortunately, they could not get the actress who played Kat, the pink Zeo Ranger, to come back. So they replaced her with a character who was pretty much similar to both Kat and Kimberly, who was this civilian girl who worked at a juice bar, who was apparently close enough to Tommy to know all his secrets. And yeah, it was supposed to be another former Ranger, but they couldn't get the actress to come back. Do we count Doggy Kruger as a Black Ranger? Yep, he's down here too. We do. Remember when Tommy faced against the principal and the whole school watched? Yeah, Elsa was disguised as the school principal of Reef High. And still, Mystic Force has no Black Ranger. Nope, they went back to green. So, Tommy's pretty cool in Dino Thunder. It wasn't really any doubt. He is a kick-ass Black Ranger. Him being on the show made it elevate it to a higher standard of gold, because Dino Thunder could have very easily been another lame-ass entry in the Disney era, but they actually showed a lot of love for the past history of Power Rangers, and Tommy Oliver rising up as a mentor to a whole new generation of fighters was easily cool, and they did not have him sit on the sidelines. He became the new Black Ranger. He got his powers. He's trapped in the suit temporarily. The other Rangers pretty much grow up, prove that they can be good Power Rangers just like him, and Tommy is finally relaxed now that the world is in better, more capable hands, and Tommy, I guess, was supposed to marry Kat at some point, but I guess it happened off screen now. Why is green so popular than black? I assume because green has a lot more mysticism around it. Green is a much more pretty color. And still, Mystic Force has no Black Ranger. Nope. Is the Jungle Fury Bat Ranger on this list? Yeah, he's down here, the Spirit Ranger. Because Super Sentai started with green, and also because Tommy was green. Yeah, if you don't know Akira, Mighty Morphin made the Green Ranger an essential color, because the Green Ranger was originally the 6th Ranger, and had one of the best story arcs of Power Rangers. The Green Ranger was a bad guy who fought the main colored Rangers, and eventually turned good. The Green Ranger, spoiler, was Tommy Oliver, and they broke his brainwashing because Rita was controlling him, and because Green was such a significant character in Mighty Morphin, it kind of became a fan favorite color, which is why green kind of replaced black for a long while in this franchise. They kind of shipped Tommy with Elsa. Yeah, Elsa also had feelings for him, but apparently it didn't go anywhere. Elsa was actually brainwashed into being evil, and I guess she hooks up with Anton Mercer at the end. We see them, like, go on a prom dance together, and I guess Elsa forgot about her feelings for Tommy. Kind of weird. It would have been funny since Tommy attracted, like, all the girls. It was only a matter of time before he attracted a bad girl. Elsa wanted him, Haley wanted him, Kat really wanted him, and Kimberly was originally his best girlfriend, but she dumped him with a Dear John letter and moved away. Does anyone remember that Tommy's actor had a collection of martial arts videos? Yeah, Jason David Frank is a real martial artist. There was a fan theory that Elsa and Zeltrax were Trent's biological parents. Yeah, I heard rumor that was an idea. Zeltrax is actually Smitty, and he had a crush on Elsa too. He was, like, very jealous that Elsa wanted Tommy over him, but that kind of went nowhere, especially after Zeltrax became the Starscream. But I think there's no doubt in my mind that, of course, Tommy's going on to S tier. He's one of the greatest characters in this franchise. He's badass, he's cool, and he may be old, but he can still pull it off. The Black Dino Thunder Ranger is a legend, and Tommy's legendary status was pretty much confirmed by Dino Thunder. So he's going on S, but I will put him under Adam just because Johnny Young Bosch is super cool, so he deserves to be up here higher. Tommy, still S tier. He might be the second best on this list, but we'll see as we move along. So according to the comics, Kimberly actually lied about finding someone else. Ah, she did. Well, it makes their breakup all the stupider. Hey there, hi there, hey ho. Hey, Prism Entertainment, don't worry, we got a lot of black brothers left. We just finished Tommy Oliver, who is an S-tier boss. So, I would go to Kruger, but let's knock off our first bad one. Will Aston from Operation Overdrive, going on to our first Ori. No! Yeah, this is the trash pile, because Operation Overdrive sucks, so of course the one Operation Overdrive Black Ranger also sucks. This is Will. He's a lone wolf pro thief, and like every other Overdrive Ranger, he is super unlikable. So, Will was supposed to be kind of like this Gambit slash Catwoman lovable rogue type of thief. He works alone, he's ultra serious, he's very arrogant, very brash, and very proud of being a pro thief. He's easily the most selfish treasure hunter of his group, and the group are supposed to bring a team dynamic out of him. He slowly but surely becomes nicer as the show moved along, but it is not done well. He's supposed to be like Gambit or Catwoman, but he's just unlikable. He's hateable. You don't really like Will because he's the biggest dick of the team. He's kind of rude, obnoxious, and super arrogant, and you do not get lovable rogue. You get more of a hard-ass thug kind of out of him. Well, of course, Operation Overdrive team is pretty bad. Yeah, get used to seeing all the Overdrive Rangers down here in F tier because they are the worst team of all time. I would say Jax is easily the worst of the five, but Will, another unlikable face in the Overdrive team. You do not care about him. His actor is a thief. Oh, I did not know that. He has a convention history and controversy. Oh, doesn't that make you like him more? Will's actor was apparently a thief in real life. Oh, boy. That's bad. Okay, here we go. Yeah, he is a bad brother. He failed at representing. Will Aston from Operation Overdrive is our first bad Black Ranger. And yes, I did say our first bad Black Ranger, a lot more, but we'll scratch him off now because nobody likes Operation Overdrive, and of course the one Overdrive Ranger is a total failure. Come on, Will and Mac were the least bad Rangers of Operation Overdrive. Well, I know some people defend Will because he had his funny moments, but come on, after they lost the powers, he is one of the many who just gave up and decided, nah, I'm done being a ranger. Then he got a job at the end of the series helping with security systems, since he's a pro thief, and apparently his actor, I'm told, has done some thieving in real life, which has only made the character age worse. Okay, Prism Entertainment's here. Okay, here we go. He's played by Samuel Benta. Don't know who that is. His actor's a thief. He steals something that I believe was for a sick kids. Oh, that makes me hate him even more. Benta was subject to rumors following his appearance in Power Morphicon 2007, where he was accused of stealing and allegedly refusing to return. That wouldn't surprise me. Does anybody even like Operation Overdrive? Time to talk about the controversy. So, I actually didn't know this, but my comment section are talking about it. He apparently stole something from a sick kid and did not give it back, and It's kind of a PR assassination because, yeah, he was proven guilty as hell. And Will's actor is one of the many unfortunate Power Ranger actors who've gotten into a ton of controversy all these years later. And yeah, apparently his biggest crime is being a thief. I don't think that's as bad as the pedophile rangers, the domestic abuser one, or the grifter girl. I believe Tanya or Aisha's actress actually stole from fans, but yeah, Will's actor is a criminal in real life, got arrested for stealing, and yeah, he's not looking like a true hero right about now. I sincerely doubt we'll see him appearing at Morphicons in the future. Benta has Jamaican and Antiguan heritage. Oh, he has a YouTube channel. That doesn't surprise me. All the Rangers have YouTube channels at this point. Masumi Ino is his better counterpart than Will. Yeah, Operation Overdrive, I'm told the Sentai version is a million times better, which doesn't surprise me because Operation Overdrive has 1,000 explosions and a Power Ranger rap. No, I meant the Ranger actor was signing a bander for sick kids. Oh, he was. Okay. Yeah, so Will, of course, he's gone on Ori. No, he is a bad, bad brother. Alright, so I need to use my restroom break, but you guys cast your vote on who you want to see next. I got a few unfamiliar Black Rangers here, so let me know who you want to talk about. I'll be right back. Alright, Cat's back in black. He has given his side of the story in recent YouTube videos. Okay, I have to see them. I have not seen them. You want Javi next. Okay, from Dino Fury. Well, at least it was just a banner. The Bat Ranger. There were a set of banners at the first Power Morphicon in 2007. They were to be signed by guests, then auctioned off to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Benta supposedly took one of the banners. Oh, that's the story? Alright. Wow, that sounds kind of like a dick move anyway. The Bat Ranger, Javi, well, at least it was just a banner. Wait, there's a Bat Ranger? Sweet. Yeah, the Jungle Fury Ranger. Yeah, we have the Spirit Ranger, the Bat Ranger. Unfortunately, I have not seen Jungle Fury, so it is going on to question mark, unless you guys can convince me otherwise. Also, we might as well count Jared slash the Daishi. Not watch Jungle Fury, so I do not know anything about these characters. How about Jake? Okay, soon. Also, this is the only Black Ranger with a hammer. What the hell was that noise? Drive the Slammer. Okay, so, sorry guys, I have not watched Jungle Fury. Unless these guys are supposedly the best or worst Black Rangers, I don't know where to put them, so don't know much about Jared. Apparently he counts as a Black Ranger. I saw his design, it's kind of like black and gold, but don't know why they wanted to count him. And we have the Spirit Ranger, who I know is a part of an evil Ranger team, but then they broke the brainwashing and became good guys helping the Jungle Fury team. He was controlled by Master Fang. He was blind, but he could see. So fun fact, the Spirit Rangers did not exist in the Sentai. Okay, OG Power Rangers, like the Titanium Ranger. I see the first Blind Ranger. I do, since let me talk about him. Okay, you can talk, Akira. Yeah, I only saw Jungle Fury once, so I can't really give my opinions on it unless I give it another rewatch. The Jungle Fury Zords are kind of cush, though. The Spirit Rangers really kicked the Rangers' asses. He is the Oliver Driver. Okay, so I'm told the Spirit Rangers were kind of a Psycho Ranger-esque team. They were evil enemies of the Rangers until they broke their brainwashing. I guess the villain was controlling them, and they became kind of their allies as the show went on. And I don't know enough about Jared because I've not watched Jungle Fury. Speaking of which, let's also knock off Jake. Jake's also going on to Ori No. Yep, we got another Megaforce Power Ranger. This is Jake, the Black Megaforce Ranger. He's pretty much the ultra serious dumb jock of the team. He's the big guy, the muscle of his team, and like a lot of the Megaforce Rangers, they range from bad to forgettable, and like he had a crush on Gia and it didn't go anywhere, but that's about all I know about him. He kind of lacked character. He was just boring. Jake was not very interesting. I know a lot of people, some people actually would argue he was one of the better Megaforce Rangers, but I just didn't really care for him. He's kind of one of the forgettable ones, and he did a bad job representing the black armor. Jake is a freaking creep, so why did he go from black to green? Master Swoop is the Jungle Fury Bat Ranger like Styx from Daredevil. Okay. Spirit Rangers. Okay. Also, who the hell are the Spirit Rangers? One was a Purple Ranger's father. Is Megaforce really that bad? It is Prism Entertainment. Megaforce was supposed to be a tribute to everything Power Rangers. It was a new generation experiencing adventures linked to all the past Power Ranger shows ever, from Mighty Morphin all the way up to Samurai, and they did not do a good job incorporating it. Basically, they had very loose plot threads and loose references. I guess they didn't want to overwhelm new kids with too much continuity, but it felt like a waste, and one of the biggest wastes was easily the Team Megaforce. They were not interesting or some of the worst characters ever. Jared the Line Ranger was the Power Rangers villain who is the Tai Lung of Power Rangers. Okay, now that kind of makes me want to see Jungle Fury. Well, in the finale, Gia actually kissed Jake on the cheek. Oh, that's it? That's it? Robo Knight was the only good thing in Megaforce. Yes, he was, and surprisingly a much better actor than Troy. Actually, Jake and Gia got together at the end of Super Megaforce. They did. I'm told all they had was a kiss on the cheek. Like, I do not have a drive to go back to Megaforce, so I don't have it fresh in my memory. Robo Knight was the only good thing. Jake Halling is the Black Snake Ranger. I think he was also afraid of snakes, ironically. Azim Risk played Hill. Also, Megaforce had the most abrupt ending ever. Yeah, I mostly remember it for having the Ranger reunion where we got every Ranger from Tommy Oliver up to the most recent seasons cameoing. They, of course, didn't get everyone, but they got my favorites, Carter Grayson, Wes. Cassie was in there. They got Dana from Lightspeed Rescue. Was anybody even looking forward to Dana returning? But yeah, she came back, which was nice to see. And Corone, easily the best cameo. I love being a Power Ranger. Pretty much the highlight of that entire event. And of course, Jason David Frank back as the Green Ranger, which is very confusing since you see the Black Dino Ranger and the Red Zeo Ranger, who were also Tommy in that crowd shot. Gokai Ranger did the anniversary aspects a lot better. Yeah, I'm sure they did. The Sentai probably was a million times better. He is 2 weeks older than Yuki Yamada, who plays Joe. OD Black is S tier. Yep, S tier. Tai Lung, finally a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary. B.D. Skinner played Jared, defeated Kandor in single combat, deserves a high ranking. B.D. Skinner is a New Zealand actor. Yeah, Power Rangers moved to New Zealand for production reasons, and apparently it was easier to film because New Zealand is very close to Japan. Fun fact, in the Super Sentai version of Megaforce, the Rangers are angels, the villains and the monsters of the week are named after movies. I did not know that. He would stay at a neighbor's house whenever his was very busy parents aren't home. Then when he moved to the city of Ocean Bluff, who was so alone that he became the victim of intense bullying by 5 fellow kids. Eventually they cornered him in a playground and beat the living biscuits out of him. What are you talking about, Akira? I'm here. Sorry for missing out on the Red Rangers tier list, but I'm here now, my friends. Yeah, we're on Jake, who is very unlikable, very bland, a creep. He and Gia had a romance, which could have been interesting, but falls very flat. Let's just say they were no Wes and Jen. Also having a crush on Camellia, a chameleon spirit villainess who she was hot. Do not know who that was. You want to know the sad thing about Jake is that he is the only one of the main 5 with the most consistent characterization. Really? Okay, so that really says a lot. But Jake, we're putting on Ori No. He is a disgrace to the term black. Then, I believe he was replaced by Chase from Dino Fury. Chase, I don't know anything about. I have not watched Dino Fury. And we will also be putting Javi up here. Yeah, Jake, then Javi. I do not know them. I have not watched Dino Fury, Dino Charge, Super Dino Fury, or Beast Morphers. Yeah, also going to put Steel up here. I believe this is Steel from Beast Morphers. I only watched clips of Beast Morphers because I heard the villain was secretly Vengix all along, and that was the only reason I checked Beast Morphers out or even know of it, because Evox was really Vengix, and they were wrapping up a plot thread from RPM, so do not know much about these guys, do not know Javi, Chase, or Steel all that well. Okay, that was Jared's origin story. Okay, we're long past Jared now, Akira. You want to know the sad thing? Okay, read that one. Also, Megaforce is the combination of 2 different Sentai series. That kind of makes sense why it was a mess. Chase is a skateboarder and sort of a Casanova. No, that's the Master Black from Dino Fury. Oh, okay, that's Steel is the Silver Ranger. Okay, my mistake. Either way, I have not seen Dino Fury, Super Dino Fury, or Dino Charge. Javi is the Lucas from Miraculous, who lives with his sister Izzy, who is the female Green Ranger. Okay, brother and sister Ranger team. Interesting. Okay, so, yeah, I just don't know enough about these Black Rangers, but now we can get back to the ones I do know, so we'll have a lot more positives to talk about, and remake Zack. So, let's talk about the big dog, Doggy Kruger, aka the Shadow Ranger from SPD. Doggy Kruger. Going on to S tier, yeah, of course he is. Doggy Kruger, friggin' awesome. One of the best SPD characters of all time. Doggy is initially the commander of the SPD unit. He's the leader of the squads, A Squad, B Squad, all the other Rangers patrolling the universe. And Doggy Kruger starts out at first as a mentor. He's in the command center, telling the Rangers, teaching them, mentoring them. Then eventually, he gets his own morpher and becomes the Shadow Ranger. Well, they're step-siblings. Okay. James Davies plays Chase. Who told you about the tier list since you mentioned that you don't create it? I Google search for them. That's really it. I just Google searched them and I found them. We can all agree that Tommy from Dino Thunder and Zack from Mighty Morphin are the GOATs. Well, so is Doggy Kruger. I really love Doggy. His story, very interesting. Doggy Kruger is a dogman alien who lost his home planet to the evil Emperor Grum. Grum and his army destroyed his world. They invaded and conquered it, killed his entire species, except not really. Doggy's wife is still alive, and she's been held prisoner on Grum's ship this whole time, as a gambling chip in his ultimate final plan to take over the world. Of course. The aliens are named after alien movies. Mutants are random like it. Nightmare on Elm Street. It's in Phantom of the Opera. Robot movies for the robots. Yeah, Goziger is better than Megaforce. Yeah. The furry version is cool in Japanese, since why the American version of Reptile? Yeah, they kind of gave him kind of a slimy, scaly look, but I blame that more in the costumes department. An awesome ranger and an awesome mentor would be S tier if this was a Power Rangers mentor tier list too. Absolutely, Shadowlink. Doggy Kruger is awesome. He's a total badass. He solos on his missions all the time, and was a much better 6th Ranger than Sam, the useless ball of light. Doggy Kruger, very kick-ass character. He is a veteran soldier. He and Dr. Cat are easily my favorite characters. One's a sexy cat girl, so of course. But Doggy Kruger really won me over as the series went on. He is very much a caring teacher, but also no nonsense. He is very serious and not afraid to call out the Rangers on their BS whenever they're screwing around or slacking off. Doggy Kruger, kind of the Optimus Prime of SPD. An experienced soldier and a super badass, but a leader with a heart and compassion. He does care about saving lives. He does see the Rangers as his family. The Rangers are once worried that he loves A-Squad more than them, but it turns out they didn't let him finish. They didn't overhear the rest of what he was saying. They caught him out of context, that cliche that Doggy has grown to love the B-Squad more and realize that they are perfect for replacing A-Squad and does view them as great Rangers. So I think it goes without saying that Doggy's best moments easily in the finale. The finale, Doggy is arguably the real hero over Jack the Red Ranger. So I've talked about this so many times, but did not like how Jack was handled in the finale. Jack is tired and he's about to quit, but he joins them for one last mission, and Doggy is really the one who gets a lot of resolution and development to his character arc. Doggy is spearheading the final charge against Omni, the stupid villain, and Emperor Grum. He takes out the entire ship, his forces, rescues his wife, and delivers the satisfying beatdown against Grum. He cut off his horn long ago and cuts off the other horn. Now they match, and he defeats his arch nemesis and saves the world himself, proving that this is one of the most badass Black Rangers ever. Yeah, that finale actually made Doggy Kruger the best character, so I am going to put him above Tommy because Doggy solo fought the villain and saved the Earth. It's ironic that SPD takes place in 2025, and yet we are here and it's nothing like the show. Yeah, but I swear I saw spaceships out there anime night. So in the Sentai, Doggy's love interest was the Cat Ranger. I think in the Sentai version, Dr. Cat was actually a goose alien, which is why they ended up not using the Cat Ranger too often, because it was originally bird-themed. It had, like, feathers for an attack, and Dr. Cat uses the Cat Girl Ranger form once in the series, and really wish it came back. Because Akira, they want him to look cool. Ian Yorkland is in Black Dino Charge as Chase's Japanese counterpart. I don't know anything about it, Akira. So, how does his nose fit inside his helmet? Yeah, that is kind of funny. I assume in Japan, his Sentai Muppet has a much shorter snout and muzzle, so it kind of fits under there. But yeah, Doggy Kruger gets a human face mask. I guess it would have looked a bit ridiculous having him look like a RoboCop dog. But yeah, the Shadow Ranger armor, pretty boss. I see that the guy voices Bumblebee from Fall of Cybertron is on S tier where he belongs. Yep, Johnny Young Bosch, still number 1 so far. Adam is still number 1 because he is a classic. Doggy Kruger actually might beat out Tommy just because he solo defeats Grum, Moira, and saves his wife and the Earth all at the same time. That is one of the most badass feats of the SPD finale for sure, so really love him. Doggy Kruger's so awesome, he made a cat praise a dog. Need I say more? Alright, catch up on comments. So, fun fact, Doggy's actor would later on play the Gold Ranger in Mystic Force, yet there was no crossover between the two series. That is so dumb. More reason for me to not watch Mystic Force now. Agri, the Japanese is better a version of Megaforce. Still shocked to me that A Squad were the first Rangers to become villains without brainwashing or clones. Yeah, they were totally evil of their own accord. Okay, she was a swan, not a goose. Okay, my mistake. I'm a cat. I don't like birds anyway. Yeah, she was originally a bird-themed alien in the Sentai, but in the West and New Zealand, she was altered into a sexy cat girl, because, let's be real, cat girls are very sexy. Anubis Kruger defeated Emperor Grum in single combat S tier. Fully agree. It's a Swan Ranger, not a goose. Okay, I made a mistake. Got all my bird watching experts in the chat. Oh yeah, the A Squad Rangers did exist in the Sentai. They did. It's kind of funny that A Squad looked like the Space Rangers. I know they recycled the suits, but pretty funny callback, all things considered. Really wish we got to see Doggy Kruger again, but he's only in SBD. He's referenced and mentioned a few times, but considering his character arc ended in the most great proper conclusion, I was willing to accept that. Doggy Kruger, S tier Black Ranger for sure. Alright, got a lot of good ones, so we should knock out our last bad black brother. Remake Zack. Yeah, let's do it. Let's bite the bullet. Talk about Zack from Power Rangers, the 2017 reboot movie. Reboot Zack. Yeah, he's going on to Ori. No. Awful. Awful. Like everything else in that movie, it is awful. So, I know it's hard to tell, but this guy is Zack. Yeah, don't they look so much alike? So, they did give a race change to some characters. Billy is now black, and Zack is now an Asian guy, which made it very confusing because a lot of people thought this was Adam, because it would have made sense if it was Adam. This is Zack from the remake. They made him into an Asian American instead of a black guy because the reboot was afraid they'd offend people by having the black guy as the Black Ranger and the Asian chick as the Yellow Ranger. If I was in that film, all I know about the movie is that the Rangers don't morph until the last 20 minutes. Yeah, that was another problem. He is whitewashed. Oh, an SBD Sentai counterpart. There was actually a gold that never adapted in SBD. I think that was the Nova Ranger in the American version. You said you don't like birds, but I thought Cat loves birds because they eat them. You likes fishes? Yeah, I like to eat them, but I don't like to study them. Yeah, the A Squad existed. Ludi Lin is a Chinese-Canadian actor and model. Okay, I did not know that. I mean, we made Trini a girl instead of a guy like it was in Sentai. He played Liu Kang in the 2021 Mortal Kombat reboots. Ah, more reason not to like him. If I was in this film, but I would break off all his fingers and thumbs and leave only his ring finger, he'd tarnish Zack. Yeah, Remake Zack is easily the most bastardized of all the 2017 Rangers. They took all the classic Mighty Morphin faces and gave them a lot of character changes to quote-unquote modernize them and make them relatable, and Zack got ruined the worst. Zack is no longer a cool hip-hopping radical bro. Now, he's a total jerk. Zack is a anger-prone, troublemaking delinquent. He's the one who has anger issues. He's borderline an idiot bully, which is not how I would describe the real Zack at all. And he's also living in like a trailer park with his single mom, and he comes from a poor background, which I guess explains why he's not the black guy. He gets into detention with all the other Rangers because he's known to start fights and get into trouble a lot, and yeah, they ruined our boy. He is ruined almost just as bad as Trini and Kimberly are. Zack is a total douchebag. He's the one with anger issues. He's the one who likes to fight. He's the class clown, but not a very charming one like the real Zack. Does he ever use Hip Hop Kiddo? No, but instead he makes a lot of gangsta jokes. Like, Oh, yeah, how can you guys forget this classic line? Have you ever morphed before? And Zack says, well, only in the shower. Are you laughing? Are you laughing, audience? I morph in the shower. And when they finally morph in the last 20 minutes, dude, check me out, I'm black. And Billy says, no, you ain't. Get it? Get it? Because Zack was originally a black dude in the original Good Show. Yeah, get it? He's the Black Ranger, but he's not a black guy like the real Zack. Yeah, hate it. He is annoying. He's a comic relief who is not funny and very much unlikable. He gets pissed off a lot. He's very in your face and borderline an idiot bully of the group. They did not do Zack justice, and honestly, I'm kind of confused why they didn't just make him Adam, because he has a lot more in common with Johnny Young Bosch's Adam to the point of looking just like him. Half of this guy in this terrible list aren't even black. Yeah, we got Will down here. He's the only bad brother. Zira Drake is the female black Time Force Ranger in the comics. Okay. I didn't know there was a comics on that. He doesn't use hip-hop. They even had the same actress from The Great Smile 2, and in the shitty Charlie's Angels 2019, and the god-awful Princess Jasmine from the live-action Aladdin for the Pink Ranger, in Power Rangers 2017. Yeah, I heard Kimberly's actress has not had a great career. And I say Kimberly's 2017 actress, not Amy Jo Johnson. Jo Johnson is well loved. Also, Johnny Lawrence, the Black Boar Ranger, as part of the special exclusive collab. Okay. So, do not like Zack. He also does not undergo a character arc. I think the intent was he's supposed to grow into the likable Zack we love from Mighty Morphin. He basically eases up, lightens up, starts treating the Rangers as his friends rather than people he's forced to be around, and it doesn't feel earned. It's not earned. You don't like it. You do not buy it. You do not buy that this guy of all the characters has grown into a true companion with his Ranger team. Zack has anger issues. He wants to help his mom. They live in a trailer park. He takes out his frustrations in fights, and he knows martial arts, which again kind of makes him more like Adam than he does Zack, and pretty much has nothing in common with the OG Zack other than they have the same name and they're the comic relief. That is it. That is where the similarities pretty much end. And he's the Black Ranger. They're fighting in this stupid ass Megazord, and he says like, oh, sorry, Bumblebee. Yeah, get it? Because it looked like Michael Bay's Bumblebee. Really stupid. Let's talk about Psycho Black next. Okay. Not even the cameos from Kimberly and Tommy can save that film. Yeah, it was bad. Well, Vesper Vasquez is the female Cerberus Black Ranger, played by Christina V. Okay. So, yeah, I like everything in the 2017 movie. Zack is completely bastardized and unrecognizable from his counterpart, and kind of made you question why this wasn't just Adam, since he even looks like Johnny Young Bosch, but nope, Zack is just an annoying douchebag from the start of the movie and ends an annoying douchebag with superpowers by the end of the movie. Yep, going into Ori no. Alright, so let's talk positives again with Psycho Black. And as you can guess, Psycho Black going into S tier. Why was there no Psycho Silver? There was, Axel. It was Zane in disguise. So did they use actual suits or just CGI? They did use CGI for the suits, and it looked pretty horrendous. The Ranger suits were ugly. Makes you kind of understand why they didn't use them until the final act. So, let's talk positives again. Psycho Black. So, Psycho Black is one of the better Psycho Rangers because he's a lot more focused and level-headed. He's technically the only sane man of his team, but by comparison, Psycho Black, very much a hands-on villain, kind of the Soundwave of his team. He is no nonsense, he gets things done. He is not like his other Psycho counterparts who relish in making their victims suffer. He absolutely wants the Black Ranger dead and is willing to follow orders. He is the only Psycho Ranger basically with a brain, but that kind of made him more interesting. Played by Michael Mays. Yeah, he's pretty much the more cold, calculating Psycho, and Psycho Black, to his credit, also has a cool monster form. He's the one who turns into the Rock Monster, and one of his biggest achievements is he actually captures the badass Megazord. He brings the Megazord through a space portal, and holds it hostage along with Psycho Yellow and Red for their ultimate plan, and yeah, like all the other Psycho Rangers, he's just cool. He is very cool. I like his design because his black armor kind of blends in with the regular black armor all the Psychos have, making him stand out as far more creepier and shadowy. So he'll be on S tier because all the Psycho Rangers are cool. He unfortunately doesn't get moments to shine on his own like Psycho Red, Blue, and Pink do, but you know, the Psycho Rangers are S-tier villains anyway, so we'll put him up top. And we actually do get to see him human. We see his voice actor, and kind of funny, he is not how I imagined he would look, but yeah, Psycho Black is apparently this tall blonde guy with a fro. Pretty hilarious look for him, but yeah. Psycho Black, total S-tier anyway. His Japanese counterpart is Nezzy Vulgar. So did Astronema not care enough about Zane to make a Psycho counterpart for him? I assume Astronema's love for Zane prevented her from making a Psycho Silver because he's the only Ranger the Psychos don't try to murder. So clearly there's some of Corone in there and her lingering feelings for Zane, so I thought that would have been interesting to explore, that she doesn't have a Psycho to kill Zane because her love for him still exists deep in her heart. But anyways, yeah, Psycho Black S tier. Alright, got two of the best black bros ever. Let's knock out the Magna Defender. Magna Defender also going on to S tier. Yep, just like on Lost Galaxy, I agree, this is one of the greatest characters of all time. So, yeah, technically Mike is up here, but this is the OG Magna Defender, the badass mysterious warrior who used to protect space until he lost his way. Scorpius invaded his homeworld and killed his son Zyka. Zyka died protecting his dad, and Magna Defender basically lost himself. He lost his morals, he lost his noble goodness in his heart, and gave in to anger, becoming more of a Punisher-style anti-hero, doing whatever it takes to defeat Scorpius and protect the lights of Orion. He finds the lights first, tries to keep them out of Scorpius's hands, and unfortunately becomes a on-again, off-again frenemy to the Power Rangers. Fun fact, the Psycho Rangers get powers of the Godzilla kaiju villains. I believe his Monster Zero in he's Monster Zero in Godzilla vs. Power Rangers 2 comics. Oh, that is pretty cool. I'll have to read that. Do her and Zane actually get together? So, I do not think so. Corone kind of moves into Terra Venture. We do not see Zane and Corone ever re-pick up their romance. I heard there's a fan film series where it carried off what the Space Rangers did after they went on their ending, because the Space Rangers still had their powers, and it's implied they're journeying across Earth, basically, still fighting. And the Astro Megaship was kind of donated to Terra Venture. I heard there was like a fan film series, and I haven't watched it, but apparently Zane is in it. But we do see Corone move to Terra Venture, and I presume she's trying to hook up with Leo, because they also ship Leo and Corone together, because Leo got shipped with every female in that show. Love this character. Used to have the blaster toy as a kid growing up. Yeah. Kerrigan Mahan played him. His other roles include the Incredible Hulk in the 70s series Forest episode, and Static Shock as Edwin Alva. Oh, he was Alva. I did not know that. Anyways, Magna Defender, ultra badass, very cool, kick-ass solo ranger. He actually isn't helping the Power Rangers at first, but halfway in they have the same goal. They start cooperating. Leo reaches into his heart and tells him that he's giving into anger and losing himself, becoming no better than the villains. And as we all know, and I mentioned in my Lost Galaxy tier, he has one of the most badass moments in the series where he performs a heroic sacrifice, imagines his son telling him that he still has faith in him and to do good one last time, where the Magna Defender heroically sacrifices himself to destroy Scorpius' super weapon and save the innocent lives on Terra Venture. Yep, Magna Defender dies, and it is an ultra powerful and heartwarming scene, and I really love it. The Magna Defender is on S tier for Redemption Day. That is one of the greatest episodes of Lost Galaxy, and it might make my top 10 because of how powerful it is. The Magna Defender makes peace with his son and tells him that he's proud of you. I'm proud of you, Dad. No, son. I am proud of you. And he sacrifices his life energy, destroying the super weapon, but at the cost of himself. However, he released Mike's soul from him at the last second, so Mike could become the new Magna Defender in his stead, ending on a great high note for this iconic character. Makes you wonder if anyone was smart enough to keep all of their original Power Ranger toys and never open the box to become rich. Yeah, I'm sure some people will, because now Power Ranger toys are over $100, especially if you're buying any that were pre-RPM. He looks like a bull ranger. Yeah, that's his spirit animal. He is a ox, basically. Or no, yeah, he is a... Wait, is he? Yeah, he's like a bull or an ox. He has the Toro Zord, which is a giant mechanical bull. Magna Defender also has a cool Megazord. He can become one with the Megazord. He turns into a giant robot. He has a giant robot bull, and the bull and he can combine into an Ultra Magnazord, which is basically a combiner, and they can one-shot enemies. It is kind of hilarious how they drag out the morphing sequence and his actual fights are like 5 seconds long. Agreed, Anime Night. Yeah, Magna Defender, awesome character arc, a great redemption arc, cool design, cool weapons. This guy is just plain awesome, and I am putting him onto S tier for sure because the classic Magna Defender had one of the greatest arcs of Lost Galaxy, and he was the character who kind of made things cool again once he showed up. So, S tier for sure. Alright, got one left. Gonna use my last restroom break, but let's get excited to end thing on the mother of all high notes with the RPM Black Ranger. BRB, quick sec. Alright, Cat's back, ready to get in gear. Let's do this. Dylan going on to S tier. Yep, he is awesome. I really regret not watching Power Rangers RPM. I've only recently watched the show when I did that tier list, and The fans are right. RPM is awesome. Completely underrated, badass Power Ranger show. One of the greatest entries in this saga. And surprisingly, it had one of the best Black Rangers ever, Dylan. Dylan is kind of the Wolverine of the group. Dylan is a total bad boy loner outcast. He's a mysterious loner trying to discover his past and himself, only to come across the city of Corinth, where he's the perfect candidate to become the Black RPM Ranger. Well, this was fun. I'll see you guys next time on the next tier list. Here's to hoping I don't miss out on it. Anyway, sorry about the last time, Cat. I'll try to make it next time, my friend. Okay, bye, Christopher. Glad you could make it. It is have a mask. Either it is Zach or Adam. Okay, so I just catch up on comments. It makes you wonder if anyone is smart enough to keep... Okay, read that one. He was the MVP of Overdrive. Gunpei Ishara, Dylan Japanese counterpart. Subject D44. Yep, that was his name. So, this is Dylan, the Black RPM Ranger. Dylan is at first a lone wolf. He's a complete outcast. He's alone in the wasteland that Venjix and his evil machines created. If you don't know, RPM has a new machine empire. Venjix, a corrupt computer virus who has completely lost its mind and has destroyed 99% of the Earth. Humanity is now an endangered species, and we meet Dylan as kind of this Mad Max type of loner. He's traveling alone in his kick-ass sports car, watering plants even though there's a shortage of water, showing that he does have a heart and cares about the world. He's like watering a sunflower, and the sunflower wouldn't fully bloom until the series finale as a book ends. Dylan finds and saves Ziggy. Well, Ziggy kind of takes him hostage, but gets his butt whooped by Dylan. Dylan takes pity on Ziggy, and they become an odd friendship. Ziggy and Dylan journey into the city of Corinth, managing to outmaneuver Venjix's weird barricade, his blockade over the city, showing that Dylan is badass. He has bombs, he can drive past lasers, and he shows that he does have martial arts skills, proving to be perfect as the Black Ranger. Dylan becomes a part of Dr. K's mysterious RPM unit, becoming the Black Ranger, but Dylan is kind of the Wolverine to Scott's Cyclops. They're both completely different. Scott's a lot more open and friendly, but also very commanding, wants Dylan to obey his orders and fall in line. Dylan's kind of a loose cannon who doesn't play by the rules. Much like Ziggy, whose main Zord went from an orca in Goanger to a shark in RPM, Dylan's Zord was changed from a German Shepherd to a wolf, which makes sense. He is a lone wolf, if you will. So, we learn more about Dylan as the show goes on, and what pretty much earned Dylan S tier is he's more or less the real main protagonist of RPM. Dylan is the real main character of RPM. He's the one who goes on the hero's journey, he's the one with the most character-focused character development, and is the one who helps save the day, including his sister, Tenaya 7. So, it turns out Dylan is not fully human. Dylan is a cyborg. He is one of the humans who was abducted by Venjix for his secret project of making cybernetic, half-machine, half-humans. Venjix realized that he can't kill all humans, and that there is some use for them, so he has this mysterious villain agenda, which pays off in the finale, that he's creating Manchurian cyborg agents to plant in the city of Corinth to take it down from the inside. Tenaya 7 turns out to be a test subject, seeing if these half-human, half-cyborg prototypes do in fact work. And Dylan is basically trying to learn about himself and his past. Dylan has no memories of what happened to him. Again, kind of like Wolverine, but I would honestly say he's also kind of like Marcus from Terminator Salvation, mostly because Marcus also had no memories, and he's kind of a newbie lone wolf in this war-torn machine war world. But yeah, he's kind of like Marcus, also the twist that he's cyborg. So he tries to find out more about himself. He discovers that he had a sister. The sister is Tenaya 7. Tenaya 7, later Tenaya 15, is Dylan's long-lost sister. They have an Andros and Corone type of story. Dylan wants to save her and helps Tenaya break her brainwashing. Tenaya realizes she was used by Venjix and she's just another one of his experiments, not an actual 100% machine. Tenaya 7 is recaptured by General Kilobyte, who fully brainwashes her and reprograms her like Astronema, forcing the two siblings to duke it out until the finale. And yeah, it is a very good arc. It is a new generation's Power Rangers in Space finale. They do kind of copy and paste Astronema and Andros, but Dylan and Tenaya 7 were definitely their own characters, so it definitely worked. Like Dylan never shows up in Beast Morphers. Yeah, that was very weird, especially because of how important he was in RPM. Dylan basically is a defrosting Ice King, very cold towards the RPM Rangers, but slowly but surely they all become family. Dylan earns their respect. He's powerful but not disciplined. They become friends. He and Scott become total bros. He has respect for Flynn. He falls in love with Summer because Summer is one of the hottest Yellow Rangers ever. He saves his sister Tenaya 7 from evil, and he helps Ziggy basically grow up and become a better person. He and Ziggy are like the only ones who are friends because they're both the troublemaking outcasts, and very heartwarming story how Dylan still sticks by him, even though he could very easily ditch him. But yeah, as you know, in the finale, Dylan finally takes on Tenaya 7 and General Kilobyte, leading to like a very satisfying death scene where he and the RPM Rangers work together to assassinate General Kilobyte. Then he and Tenaya 7 work together to take down Venjix's control of the command tower. Venjix manages to break into the city, activating his Manchurian cyborgs, and he and his sister work together to destroy his total control over it and double team General Crunch. I said it before in RPM, but General Crunch was not a worthy final boss. General Crunch finally does something in the finale, and basically he's the final boss in between the siblings, so it is very satisfying at least that they beat him up. Dylan saves Tenaya, and they parachute because Dylan learned from his mistakes, and they crash the giant command tower on top of Venjix's final form, killing the computer virus and saving the Earth. So after his character development, Dylan decides to ride out on his own, now completely fulfilled this time, and he gets to be lucky with two sexy ladies. Summer chooses him, and Tenaya 7, his sister, finally reunites with her only family, and Dylan, Tenaya, and Summer go on a road trip together, where we see that the sunflower Dylan planted and took care of earlier is now blooming into a forest, as a symbolic metaphor that the earth is growing back and healthier and beautiful than ever. Very nice story. Yeah, Dylan, of course, going on to S tier. They actually made the Black Ranger one of the coolest characters ever. That is how good RPM is. They made a Black Ranger with a very deep, compelling story arc, and I agree, he's badass, he's cool, the suits are very awesome, and Dylan has easily the coolest arc in RPM, so of course he's an S tier Black Ranger. He is a true brother who be representin'. Since they are easy to make Dragon Keepers in the moment, like it is done, like Black Ranger's tier list, that means blue, green, and pink is next. Yeah, one of those colors. I know people want pink for sure. Yeah, Dylan never showed up in Beast Morphers, even though Venjix came back. I heard Venjix came back because he planted a piece of his program in one of their morphers. Like, they say it was either Scott or Dylan's, and I would buy it was Dylan, but they also had the middle one, which was Scott's, which is very confusing. But yeah, Venjix eventually came back for a sequel, but I've never watched Beast Morphers. But yeah, we completed our Black Rangers tier list. That is all of them. Ended on Dylan, one of the best. So, number 1 is Adam, aka Johnny Young Bosch. And the worst one is easily Will from Operation Overdrive. Did I miss anything? Only the entire tier list, James. We're like on the wrap up now, but I'll go over it one last time for late birds. Let the next tier list be the Power Rangers Comic Relief / Allies. I mean, Alpha 5 was an ally. Alright, so worst one, Operation Overdrive's Will. Wasn't really any doubt. Best one, Adam, Johnny Young Bosch, who was awesome. And because there was not too many Black Rangers, you could easily take a picture of all of them here if you can see them. Yeah, we talked about every Black Ranger ever, all the way up to Dino Charge, whatever. Yeah, sorry, I don't have much familiarity with the Dino Rangers, but yeah, Adam's number 1, Will's the worst one. So, go over it one last time for any of you late birds. The Ori knows easily Will, Operation Overdrive, who the Overdrive Rangers all suck, so no surprise. Remake Zack, garbage. And Jake from Megaforce. Megaforce also sucks, so no surprise. Yeah, these three easily the worst, the three stooges of the Black Rangers. Can you do Green Rangers next? Sir Lancelot's favorite color in Monty Python. Also, White Rangers tier list. That one might be even shorter, but yeah. The ones I don't know, Zack Shadow Ranger, the Jungle Fury Black Rangers, we got Chase, we got Javi, and we got one of the other Dino Black Rangers. I don't know these guys. I just don't know these guys. Then C, we have the Black Alien Ranger, who is basically a glorified background character. None in B, surprisingly, but in A, we have Carlos, the Phantom Ranger, and Danny. These guys honestly were pretty good. They had their likable moments. They were definitely interesting, and I would not be surprised if people consider them high-tier Black Rangers. One of them being so good that he made Turbo watchable. So these guys pretty awesome. But our S tier, the ultimate Black Brothers, we got Psycho Black, awesome villain. Zack, of course, he's a classic. Who didn't like Zack? He is from the original Mighty Morphin era, and the OG Mighty Morphin era is very charming, and just like Zack, he is too. We have both Magna Defenders, Mike and the first Magna Defender. I love Lost Galaxy, so of course he would be high up here. Then we have Tommy Oliver, big shock, Tommy Oliver, one of the greatest Power Rangers ever, also made Black look good. Dino Thunder is an awesome show, and him becoming the new Black Ranger, definitely a nice surprise. He may be old, but he can still pull it off. Then we have Dylan. The RPM show made the Black Ranger the most interesting character ever, enough said. We have Doggy Kruger, who I love, best SPD character and probably the best mentor figure on this list. The Shadow Ranger might be a bit of a cheat up in the Black Rangers tier list, but we'll count him just because this is a good dog. And our number 1 is Johnny Young Bosch's Adam, because yeah, he's also a classic. This role pretty much made Johnny Young Bosch's career. He is cool, and Back in Black is one of the best Power Ranger stories ever. So he is our number 1 in S tier. Tommy! Yep, Tommy's up here. White Rangers tier list. Dino Charge has more Rangers than Granite, Silver, Aqua, and Blue. People want Blue next. Also have son and father, Dino Charge team. People want Blue next. I've heard people want me to do the Pink Ranger next, just because the Pink Ranger is also the hot girl. But there's also a lot of good pinks out there. But for now, this pretty much completes our Black Ranger tier list. The Black Ranger, as you can see, had a lot more good than bad, so there were definitely some badass brothers on this tier list who be representing. I do like a lot of these Black Rangers. They were all cool, and I can see why a lot of people felt the Black Ranger was severely underrated, because look how many good faces we got from here. Doggy, Adam, Dylan, Tommy Oliver. There were a lot of great faces who donned that Black Power armor. But thank you all for joining me. We'll see what's the next tier list we do. Most likely a Ranger color. I mean, we still have green, blue, black, white, 6th Ranger, which is usually a random color, but we'll see. For now, thank you for joining us on this tier list. I hope you guys liked it, because this one was a bit simpler, but very fun talking about Rangers, as always. But now, I'll set you guys free. It's done. Yep, it's done. Alright, Cast your vote on what color you want to see next in the comment section below, because I'm probably not going to see the chat once this is posted. But thank you all for joining us, very grateful. We'll see if we talk about Rangers again in the future. Take a snapshot if you can't see. We managed to fit them all in here for once. But anyways, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I wish you all a good day. See you on the next time, my black brothers.